I missed that part of it. So we'll add it as 7, 8, 9.
Okay, if everybody's ready, we'll get started. I'd like to welcome everybody to the City Council, the City of Escalon special meeting of June 24th, 2020. Would you please join me in the salute to our flag? I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
This conference will now be recorded.
Sorry about that. Councilmember Merkin?
Here.
Councilmember Bellinger?
Here.
Councilmember Elves?
Here.
Oh, sorry, Mayor Pro Tem Elves. Councilmember Legero? And Mayor Swift.
Here. And we are going to dive right into, and it looks like this is not a consent calendar, or is it a consent?
No, it's not. They are presented as individual items.
Let's go right with item number 1, reappointment of commissioners to the Planning Commission.
Thank you, Mayor. So every so many years, the terms expire for Planning Commission, and this year, Commissioner Stroman and Sarkozy's terms expired June 1st of 2020. As indicated in the staff report, we advertised the position for 30 days. We received 4 applications. We called on Councilmember Legero and Mayor Pro Tem Alves as members of our Planning Commission Appointment Committee conducted interviews, and upon conclusion of the interviews, staff was advised that they were comfortable with reappointing both Commissioner Stroman and Sarkozy back to the Planning Commission. So once they are reappointed, their terms would be for another 4 years. However, we do have 3 other seats that will be up for reappointment next year. So we will be advertising those as well. So if you have any questions, I could answer those for you. I don't know if Councilmember Alves or Councilmember Legero have any comments or anything else they'd like to add to it before you guys move forward.
Comments, questions?
No, we had a productive interview process. It was nice to see the interest in the positions. I think the 2 that are on there have done a fine job. They had good communication with them during the interview. Some issues were raised, and I think some good ideas moving forward came out of the discussion. So one of them being a joint meeting between the Planning Commission and the Council. So that's probably something that we need to look at doing to, just to make sure everyone's on the same page, moving forward in the same direction. So I think both of the commissioners that are fine, doing a fine job, fine to be reappointed. So I would move, if you need a motion for that, I would move to reappoint the other seat.
Okay. I'll second. All right, it's been moved and second to reappoint Commissioner Sarkozy and Stroman to the Planning Commission. Is there any discussion of the motion on the table? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. All those opposed, please signify by saying nay. Motion passes 5-0. Excuse me.
I'm sorry, Mayor Swift, because this is a teleconference meeting, it has to be by roll call. Unless, are you all there?
Yes.
They are.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry about that. Okay, thank you.
Oh, item number 2, consideration of reappointing Gary Haskins as the SI representative to the San Joaquin County Mosquito Vector Control for another 2-year term.
So, Mayor and Council, the City Council is authorized to appoint 1 member to the 5-member board of the San Joaquin Mosquito Vector Control Board for a term of 2 or 4 years. Our current representative is Gary Haskin, and his term actually expired on June 20th. Mr. Haskin has agreed that he will stay on for another 2-year term. So attached to the staff report is the letter from the San Joaquin County Mosquito Vector Control District Manager, who is thrilled that Gary will stay on for them. And Gary is, aren't you a vice president on the board right now too? So staff is asking the council to consider reappointing him for another 2-year term.
Any questions?
wants to continue to do it. So that, my motion would be to reappoint that.
The only thing I could just throw out for information is it's about 11 members.
Oh,
So.
so I think maybe from the cities, there's 5 members, or they're more from, I think so, yeah. Yeah.
I'll second, Councilmember Legero's motion.
Motion's been made and seconded to reappoint Gary Haskin as the Escalon representative to the San Joaquin County Mosquito Vector Control for another 2-year term. Is there any discussion of the motion on the table? Seeing none, we'll proceed to a vote. Voice vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please signify by saying nay. Motion passes 5-0. Item number 3. Consideration of approving resolution establishing an appropriation limitation for fiscal year 2020 to 2021. I bet you that's.
It is. So annually, the city is required to establish the appropriation limit for the city for each fiscal year. City of Escalon is elected to utilize the California per capita income and the City of Escalon's population growth factor in determining the appropriation limits for the fiscal year 2021. This limit is the previous year's figure plus a percentage change to the change of population in the city and to the change in the California per capita personal income. Last year's appropriation limit was $15,100,000. The California per capita personal income this year is 3.73%. The population change for Escalon is 0.48%. When you convert those into factors, 1.0373 and 1.0048 respectively, this allows a ratio change of 1.042279. This ratio of change times the previous year's limit provides a limit for the fiscal year 2021 at $15,738,823. This change is adopted by resolution, so we are asking that you adopt the attached resolution with that appropriation limit.
There's any questions so far? Any questions on the math?
So just a FYI, the appropriation limit technically sets a ceiling to where certain expenditures can reach. So for those that didn't know that one.
This is an actual item and we'll need a motion.
I'll move on to recommendation.
Second. All right, it's been moved and seconded to approve a resolution establishing an appropriation limitation for fiscal year 2020, 2021 at $15,738,823. Is there any discussion of the motion on the table? No. Let's proceed to vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. All those opposed, please signify by saying nay. Motion passes 5-0. Consideration of final acceptance of the community center parking lot rehabilitation project.
So on November 7th of 2019, the council awarded the community center parking lot rehabilitation project to Knife River Construction of Stockton in the amount of $225,500. The total budget for the project was $276,500. Construction proceeded on December 2nd and work concluded on February 19th of 2020. During the course of the construction, the city manager authorized 2 change orders, both reflecting the soft areas that were found in the parking lot due to cracks and the continuing seepage of water through them, which there's descriptions both there of why we had to do that. Public Works did some of the work too to soften what those change orders were going to be. So as the project built out, the actual quantities, totals that were on the base contract, adjusting the change orders, the project total is therefore $264,000. All work on the project was completed in accordance with the contract specifications. The original budget for the project for the contractor was $225,000. When the project was awarded in November, there was an additional appropriation, bringing the total budget to the $276,500. Staff is recommending council accept the community center parking lot rehabilitation project, release the final progress payment, and authorize deputy city clerk to file the notice of completion.
Any questions?
Yeah, we're talking about a $50,000 difference from the original contract, and it was for what? Soil that was not compacted properly?
Yeah, so it was cracks and saturating, the saturation of the subsurface soil. Once they started driving their equipment on there, when they pulled it off, it was just kind of sinking. So we basically had to dig out a lot of that and they put some, what do you want to call it? Like a netting or something down there so that it,
Reinforce it?
yes, to reinforce the compaction. So we wouldn't have those issues in the future, so.
So do you think that's what caused that crack with the soil itself, or that just?
Well, no, I think that there was a combination. I think initially when that, if I recall correctly, and Justin, I think is still on the line, but they didn't put down the proper sub base under the pavement initially when the parking lot was previously done.
Yeah, that's correct. There might have been an inch or two of road base on which went right through with the soil.
Yeah.
Okay. So what's the warranty on that thing? How long is that supposed to be good for?
Justin, do you know a time frame of how?
Yeah, there's
long that
no
may last?
warranty on it, but with the amount of traffic that's in that community center, we should at least get a good 20 to 30 years out of that parking lot. We will get some stress cracks in there, but we're not going to get anything where we're having an inch or 2 inch open of a crack going through there at all for a while.
Good to know. Are we restricted and everything done? Everything's finished?
Yes, it is complete.
Okay. Well, if no one has any more questions, I'll move on to staff's recommendation.
So move in second, and move on staff's recommendation to, for final acceptance of the community center parking lot rehabilitation project. Any discussion on the motion on the table? So one comment, I'm happily surprised that because of the allowance for the change orders, we're still under the entire
No.
project. But I thought for sure we'd lose.
Well, I think that's thanks to our public works
Yeah.
because of the extra work that they went in there and did.
Fantastic. Let's proceed to a vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please signify by saying nay. Motion passes 5-0. 5.
So staff is requesting council authorize the city manager to execute and submit the Cycle 1 Measure K bicycle, pedestrian, and safe routes to school program funds claim in the amount of $26,713 for Yosemite Avenue Safe Route to School Sidewalk Project included in the proposed budget for fiscal year 2021. Excuse me. Measure K non-competitive bicycle, pedestrian, and safe routes to school program is intended to fund bicycle, pedestrians, and safe route to school projects. These funds are available based on a formula share outlined in the Measure K renewal program. The Measure K non-competitive BPSRTs funds are eligible to be claimed by the city in the amount of $26,713. Funding claim will be appropriated for the Yosemite Avenue sidewalk project. The San Joaquin Council of Governments requires the claim documents to include a council resolution authorizing a specific staff member to execute and submit the claim reimbursement form.
Why'd they ask you for matching funds?
No.
Good.
So staff is recommending council adopt a resolution authorizing city manager to execute and submit a claim for the amount of the $26,713 for the Cycle 1 Measure K bicycle, pedestrian, safe routes to school program funds in application for funding sidewalk improvements for Yosemite Avenue, and authorize the city manager to execute and submit all future Measure K claims.
Any questions? This is an actual item. I do see a question from the audience. Yeah. Wait, no.
I'm gonna 6 feet difference. Gary Haskins, 471 Cavalry Court. Does that also include Brennan Avenue at Yosemite? I pick up my grandson there all the time.
Brayton.
Brayton. in
Yes,
Yosemite.
so it's to complete those sidewalks along Dent School, in front of Dent
Okay, that's
School.
Yosemite. Now on Brayton, on the west side, there's a stretch, I think we tried to do it years ago, but there was a tenant in there and we couldn't get a hold of the owner or something like that.
On the west side, no, it's on the east side.
The east side, yes.
East side, that corner, that's between Lydia and California. There's an area that has no sidewalks.
Correct.
That's what you're talking
And
about.
kids are walking out in the street
It's a
with
mess.
cars.
Yes,
In the wintertime, it's
It's a
muddy, so
bubble.
they stay, yes.
I get it.
But like I said, is that included or?
I don't know for sure, but I will check on that. And the 26,000 is not going to complete the project.
The segment of it.
So it says Yosemite Avenue from Dent Street to Brayton Avenue. So it doesn't
Brayton-
include on
Brayton
Brayton
is not
Avenue, but
included.
when we're out there, we can explore that.
I request that it could be done because I know it was several years ago, Walt, I saw you not in here yet, but money was there. It was included in the project then. It's just, we had some communication problems that.
Correct, with a few of the houses along there, yes. Because that was all on Yosemite when we were doing that project too. Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Mhm.
So does that complete, I'm just trying to remember, does that complete both sides of Yosemite? In
Yes.
front of Dan Elementary at that point then?
Yes.
What's the next street over after Brayton? Off of Yosemite, what is that intersection? Mitchell?
Mitchell.
Because there's no sidewalk on Mitchell either, on the right.
Right.
That's what I was asking.
All the way to Lydia.
So it's not including the side streets,
I
it's
get it, I
including
get it. I
Yosemite.
just make the
Yeah.
comment.
There's the sidewalk from Mitchell to Brayton, I guess it is, on the south side of Yosemite. Or no?
I don't know. So where's that sidewalk gonna go? We're gonna get to people's yards?
Yeah, we would have to.
So you have.
That was why it wasn't originally done, back when they did the Yosemite Street, was because they couldn't get, part of it was they couldn't get property owners permission because there were PG&E poles and moving PG&E poles. So PG&E required certain sign off from the property owners and we weren't able to get that.
Skip their houses.
Yeah, so we'll have to work a little harder and see what we can do.
It says the total project is 35,000. Does that mean the 26, once we're done with 20, we stop until we get the balance of it, or how's that?
We have some other funding available for sidewalks that will make up that gap
Okay.
in our local transportation funds.
If nobody's any more questions, I'd move on staff's recommendation.
Could second that.
All right, it's been moved and seconded to go on staff's recommendation to authorize the city manager to execute and submit a claim in the amount of $26,713 for the Cycle 1 Measure K bicycle, pedestrian, and safe routes to school program funds and application for funding sidewalk improvements for Yosemite Avenue, and authorize the city manager to execute and submit all future Measure K claims. Is there any discussion of the motion on the table? Nope, seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. All those opposed, please signify by saying nay. Motion passes 5-0. And we have a public hearing.
Yes.
All right.
So staff is asking the council to hold a public hearing and adopt the proposed city budget for fiscal year 2021. And we just went through all of this in the workshop, so I won't read all of this unless somebody has requested me to. And I'm happy to go back through anything else that you guys may want me to.
What I might want to do is go ahead and start the public hearing now, just in case there is anybody on the phone that has any questions, or anybody in the audience as well. So let's start the public hearing. And are there any questions from the audience or on the phone tonight? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing and bring it back to council for action.
Move on staff's recommendation.
I have one change. I'd like to revisit the delay of hiring an officer to January 21. I'd like to advance that and allow that to proceed
Okay.
right now.
So how are you going to, do we need a motion for that?
Well, you made a motion.
Yeah, I did. I'll back it up.
That's
You
it.
just did an amendment.
If you want to withdraw it, if you want to change
I want to
it,
withdraw it, so we can go back.
that's fine. We know what you're talking about. Okay.
All right, so he's made, is that your motion?
I move on staff's recommendation to adopt the budget with that change.
With the amendment to hiring the police
Correct.
officer.
Second his amendment, his motion.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to adopt the fiscal year 2021 City of Escalon budget with the caveat of going forward with hiring the police officer, the additional police officer sooner than later, right? In other words, not waiting until January. Is there any discussion of the motion on the table? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, please signify by saying nay. Motion passes 5-0. Now, you got an item.
I do. I am requesting that the council add 3 additional items to the agenda. Today, I was on a webinar with our county registrar of voters, and was brought to my attention that we need to turn in our resolutions for our November 2020 election. So I have 3 additional staff items. One which is approving the request for, one is for calling for the election. One is asking to be in a consolidated municipal election with the San Joaquin County. And the third is setting the fees for filing, and that candidates would pay their own candidate statement fee.
Cam, if you don't mind, and refresh my memory, to add these items onto the agenda, do we need a consensus, or do we need to actually go ahead and have an approval for each item?
You need to actually have a vote to add them, but you can add them all at once by one motion and vote.
Okay, so maybe we'll try to go that route. It sounds a little cleaner if council member would like to.
I move that we join all 3 of the items for
Okay.
vote.
Second. Been moved and seconded to add all 3 of the additional items that Tammy just discussed to discuss and vote on tonight. Is there any discussion of the motion on the table? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote to see if we'll add them on or not. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. All those opposed, please signify by saying nay. Motion to add these 3 items to tonight's agenda has passed 5-0.
Okay, so I am going to call it item number 7 will be our first one, which is consideration of approving the resolution calling and giving notice of the holding of a consolidated general municipal election to be held on Tuesday, November 3rd, 2020, for the election of certain officers as required by provisions of the law of the state of California relating to general law cities. So staff is asking that you adopt the proposed resolution, which gives the calling and gives the notice of the holding of the general municipal election. And we will have 2 positions that we are electing 2 members of the city council for full terms of 4 years.
Okay, very good. Any initial questions? This is an actionable item.
That would be one staff's recommendation.
Second. It's been moved and seconded. We'll move on staff's recommendation. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. All those opposed, please signify by saying nay. Motion passes 5-0. And number 8.
So consideration of approving the resolution requesting the Board of Supervisors of the County of San Joaquin to conduct the consolidated general municipal election to be held on Tuesday, November 3rd, 2020. So this is again passed by resolution, and it's just asking that the county includes our elections on their ballots. So we don't have to go through our own ballot process. So therefore, we're asking council to adopt the resolution.
So moved.
Okay. Second. Been moved and seconded to ask San Joaquin County to include our election on their ballot. Is there any discussion of the motion on the table? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, please signify by saying nay. Motion passes 5-0. Item number 9.
Consideration of approving the resolution adopting the regulations for candidates for elective office pertaining to candidate statements submitted to the voters at an election to be held on Tuesday, November 3rd, 2020. So under the provisions of section 13307 of the election code, the state of California, a candidate for elective office may prepare a statement of qualification for inclusion in the sample ballot. This resolution sets a 200-word limit on the statement and provides for candidates who submit a statement to pay for the prorated costs for printing and handling. So therefore, staff is asking you to adopt the resolution.
Okay. Second. Moved and seconded on staff's recommendation. Any discussion on the motion on the table? I had a feeling it's no. So let's proceed to vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, please signify by saying nay. Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you so much, and I apologize for that.
No worries.
But with that, council, it is our intentions that we will be going dark on the meeting of July 6th also.
Mayor,
Yes.
on behalf of the department, especially the new incoming chief, I appreciate the ability to hire. I understood the fiscal constraint and we could have worked with it, but I do truly appreciate that going forward and the ability to hire and fill that position immediately. And as I stated in the last council meeting, I appreciate everything the city manager, this council, and this community has done for me and the opportunity to be your chief of police. Thank you.
We appreciate you very much as well. And like I say, I think it was a very good idea that the job had. There's a reason we hired. We felt the need for 2 more officers, and this community supports you guys too. And they appreciate what you guys bring to the community and the safety that we have that is rather unique nowadays. So I think a lot of community members know this. So thank you too. Having said that, it looks like this is the end of the meeting. And so I'd like to thank everybody for coming tonight and for this meeting adjourned.
Yeah.